Welcome to Rick's Corner. I have a friend of mine for many, many years who was one of the former owners of Gold's Gym back in, what year was that?
1979 we bought it.
1979. Tim Kimber, and you were partners with Ed Connors at the time?
And Pete Grimkowski.
And Pete Grimkowski. Now, let's go back before that a little bit.
Okay.
You were training at the original Gold's?
No.
You didn't train there then?
No, I never went to the original Gold's Gym.
Where were you at that time?
Well, I grew up in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
I won Mr. Empire State in 1978 and became friends with Pete Grimkowski.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete, long and short of it, he ended up going to Orlando for a while. Ed Connors was in Orlando interviewing with Disney World. And he happened to stop by the gym and he saw Pete in the Orlando gym and said, you know, Pete, you really belong out at Gold's Gym with Joe Weider and all the other champions. So Ed went home and he sent Pete a one-way ticket and said, here, come on out, you can stay with me to get yourself settled and everything. So Pete came out, he took him up on it. He had won Mr. World in 1977 and Ed took Pete in and Pete started training at Gold's. And the gym came up for sale, and Pete called me up and says, you know, Timmy, you want to buy Gold's Gym with me? And I said, yeah. Are you kidding? I'd love to. So I asked my dad if I could borrow some money, and he says, what? No gym's worth that much money.
Yeah.
So he said, and I don't have any money anyway, so I came out, and when he bought it, and he bought it with himself and Ed Connors and a guy named Denny Doyle.
Mm-hmm.
And Denny taking my place, obviously. So I came out, we painted everything up, you know, fixed it all up. And
Where was it at the time?
on 1452 2nd Street.
Yeah, I remember. It was next to
Pussycat Theater.
Pussycat Theater, that's
We
right.
all remember that, yeah. And so I went home, and I'd just gotten married a few months before that. And I said to my wife, I said, hey, we're going to move to California. And she says, great. She was all on board. So we were back here May 3rd.
That quick?
From February 29th when they bought it
Yeah.
to May 3rd. And I started sweeping the floors and cleaning the place, and there was an equipment company that came with it, if you remember that or not.
Who was that?
Gold Gym Equipment. They were making it.
Oh, who
Guy,
was...
remember Jim Smith?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Jim Smith was him and his wife Vicky were doing it. And actually I think they're doing it for us. Yeah. And we took that on as part of the business. And off we went. A few months goes by, and Danny decides to get out of the business for personal reasons, which I'll leave alone.
Okay.
And I then had the opportunity from selling my house back east, and I borrowed some money from my mother-in-law, and we bought in.
Did it scare you to make that type of investment in the gym?
No.
You knew it was going to work out okay?
You know, I had no clue what was going to happen. I was just passionate.
Well, gyms have a high fail rate, like restaurants.
Yeah, see, I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, well, maybe you're better off, because sometimes you take a chance on something and step outside the box and it works. I've done that with things, and people after the fact say, you know, that could fail. I didn't intend to fail.
No.
You know, I didn't intend to make it work.
No. My intention was to be a part of Gold's Gym and, you know, win Mr. America one day, which I never competed again. But
who did you buy the gym from?
Ken Sprague.
Ken had it, and then before that, Bud Danitz and Dave Sachs had it. Before that, Joe Gold had it.
Yeah,
so it was down the line from Joe to Bud and Dave, and then Ken. And Ken kind of put it on the map, didn't he?
I believe when he owned it, he put it on the map, yeah.
Yeah, with the contest and backing. And
yeah, he put on some grandiose contests.
Yeah.
With Mae West, I think.
Yeah.
I actually have that plaque.
Do you?
Yeah. Tony. Remember Tony? Big guy.
Tony Novak? That passed away?
No.
Tony Pearson?
No. Different Tony. Tony Carroll.
Oh, Tony Carroll, yeah, from back east.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah,
I
Tony
forgot about him.
Was part of those days. It was just a great...
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like
time.
it. When you took it over, I remember when it was on 2nd Street, it wasn't there for a long time, though. What, a couple of years at most?
Well, actually, we bought it in '79, and we moved it in February of '81.
Yeah.
Actually, Heart to Heart physically moved us.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. We knew Pete wanted to take it back to Venice. And my partner, Ed Connors, is an architect. And Ed found this building for us. and designed it and everything, and
On Hampton.
On Hampton Drive, where it still is today. And Heart to Heart came in and signed us for a location.
All right, now let's tell who Heart to Heart is. It's a production company from TV show,
Yeah,
right?
Robert Wagner and
Robert
Stephanie
Wagner.
Powers were the stars.
Right.
So they actually moved us over there because they started filming in the gym
Yeah.
right as we were selling or moving,
Yeah.
and so they got their trucks and moved all around.
You got lucky.
Yeah, we did.
You didn't have to do that yourself.
In a couple ways.
Yeah, I would imagine. So you moved into Hampton and you started fresh over there,
Yes.
and that's where it is today. And you just started building your clientele from that.
Yes.
What'd you do to promote it back then? Or
Membership wise?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, Scholl's already had a name. It was starting to take off. It was already the mecca of bodybuilding. And then how'd you expand that?
We really didn't do a lot of advertising locally at all. For the memberships, it just came.
They just came by themselves. Huh?
Yeah.
And they came from all over.
We had 40 people from Sweden at one time
My God.
in a summer. It was amazing. But we also, in June, I should go back, in June of 1980, while we're still on 2nd Street,
Mm-hmm.
Pete was traveling the world as Mr. World.
Right.
And PC's always say, you know, people always ask what it's like to train at Gold's Gym. So he says, why don't we license our name for gyms in those cities?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's in June of 1980. Ed took the first license, like we did, in San Francisco, and that's when that started.
Right.
And then we started the sportswear to the gyms, and
Right.
we've always done the mail order, of course.
Yeah. And it took off from there.
Yeah, it was like a wave, Rick.
Oh man.
We were just on top of that wave and just rode it.
And it rode for a long, long time.
Yeah, we really, you know, I don't think the three of us had a lot to do with it, other than it was just the wave was there.
Well, the wave was there, and the membership and the people who came to the gym brought everybody with them.
Absolutely.
That's what made the thing work. When people were there, the people wanted to see, and it was a mecca of bodybuilding, and you were the owners, and then your membership was the crowd that pulled the people in. It was like the arena. It was like wrestling. They're all inside there, and everybody comes to see them.
In what sport can you actually train with? I trained with Lou Ferrigno. I mean,
Yeah.
what sport can you do anything with the best in the best?
Only at Gold's.
Yeah. You
And-
can't play tennis. You can't learn tennis. I mean, you can't
No.
learn from these people while you're growing up and doing it.
Well, there's no central place you'd find them, and Gold's was it. And
I remember the first time I walked into Gold's. It gives me goosebumps. Tom Platz was sitting there, and I went, "Oh my God, look at this place."
yeah,
You just feel all the people in the gym.
yeah.
You get goosebumps.
I know. I get the chills the same way. I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
And even when I go down today to Venice, and I live here in the valley, I don't know. It's something, the smell in the air. It's like I just take a deep breath, and you can smell that ocean, and you can smell the feel. And even in the gym, and in the I had to say this, in the bathroom with even the deodorizer, the walls, and walk to the firehouse. The smell of the wall smells like the piers used to back then. It just brings back the whole ambiance of what bodybuilding was like at the beach.
Yeah. And you feel that energy in there.
You feel the energy right off the bat.
Yeah. It's just.
Now, there was a lot of characters. You mentioned the Barbarian Brothers.
Yeah.
They were quite a team, huh?
We had quite a few laughs with those guys.
I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, they were. I'm still talking to David now and then.
Are they training still?
They definitely are training. I don't know where and doing what. I think there's more into yoga.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I hear yoga's pretty good.
I don't know where Peter is.
No, I don't see them at all. Well, you had Lyle Alzado there.
Lyle was a family member. Lyle was blood.
Yeah.
He was a great guy.
Samir,
Great guy.
who we talked about.
Samir. Yeah.
God, there's so many people I've forgotten about.
Don Ross, Kay Baxter.
Right. Don Ross worked with me in wrestling as my manager. We'd come out with chains, and we'd tie the guys up in chains and beat them up. We had a lot of fun together. Yeah.